In the midst of a bustling world, at an old, dusty railway station, lived a nameless beggar who wandered between train carriages every day. No one knew his name or where he came from. His life was measured in hurried coins tossed his way, in cold glances, and in the indifferent sighs of He survived solely on the pity of others. Yet in that very darkness, a small seed of awareness began to sprout silently, steadily until it grew strong enough to change what seemed like a destined path of misery. The Buddha once said, "The mind is a skilled painter, creating the world we live in." Indeed, our mind shapes the reality we experience. But in the shadows of poverty and shame, this beggar had never understood the power of a transformed mind. All he knew was to bow his head, extend his hand, and wait for something from others, never once asking himself what he could give. One day, like any other, he noticed a tall, well-dressed man stepping off a train. "He looks rich," the beggar thought. "Surely he'll give me a decent amount." He approached the man, hand outstretched, and began to beg, but the man didn't reach for his wallet. Instead, he asked a quiet but piercing question. "You always ask, but have you ever given anything to anyone?" The beggar stammered, confused, "Sir, I'm poor. I have nothing to give." The man smiled gently. "If you have nothing to give, then you have no right to ask. I'm a businessman. I only engage in give and take. Remember that." Then he boarded the train and left, leaving the beggar frozen in thought. That moment stirred something sacred within the beggar. He couldn't sleep that night. The man's words echoed through his mind. The Buddha had taught, giving is not only material, it is the giving of hope, of smiles, of kind words. And so the beggar wondered, is there anything I, a poor man, can give? The answer came one quiet morning as sunlight spilled over the rail tracks and a patch of wildflowers caught his eye. Fragile, yet radiant, the flowers reminded him of something pure. He carefully picked a few and made a vow. From now on, anyone who gave him money would receive a flower in return, not in trade, but in gratitude. To his surprise, people were moved. Their faces softened. They smiled. They gave more. The flowers had become a symbol of kindness, of dignity, of connection. And slowly, the beggar realized, I am no longer just a beggar. I give, and when I give, I receive. 6 months later, at the same station where it all began, a sharply dressed man stepped off the morning train. In his hand, he held a basket full of fresh flowers, each one a testament to the journey he had taken. On the same train, in another carriage, sat the tall man from long ago. Their eyes met. "We've met before, haven't we?" asked the flower seller with a knowing smile. The tall man studied him, then laughed. "You were the beggar at this station, but today, you're completely different." The man nodded. "That day, you didn't give me money, but you gave me something more powerful, a sentence that changed my life. You taught me that to receive, I must first learn to give." The tall man looked at the basket of flowers, visibly impressed. "So, what do you do now?" "I'm a businessman. I started by giving flowers to those who gave me money. At first it was just an act of gratitude, but people saw it as value. They shared my story. I saved up, bought more flowers, and started a small business. Today, I run a flower cart that travels between stations. I make a living not just with money, but with meaning." The tall man placed a hand on his shoulder. "You've proven something profound. Poverty and wealth aren't about circumstances. They're about mindset. The Buddha once said, even a small act of giving creates lasting merit if it comes from a sincere heart." That tiny shift in awareness, that pure intention to change, had led this once broken man to harvest a garden of hope. As the train pulled away, he stood quietly on the platform, smiling. Life doesn't depend on where you start, it depends on where you choose to go. A shift in perspective, a seed of faith, a gesture of kindness, these are enough to change any fate. And amidst the chaos of the world, one lesson remains timeless. When you give with your whole heart, the best things in life will always find their way back to you.